How has technology changed print media over time? It is a question many have had for years. Both print and electronic media have played an extremely vital role in communication. But as the world is becoming more fast-paced and people want more access to news and information immediately, print has seemed to fall short. More people have been turning on their televisions and iPads and putting down the Sunday papers. As the years pass, the way stories are told remain the same, but the way they are consumed threatens to change. Even though the advancements of technology has impacted print media in various ways, it still continues to be used by people in the United States in their everyday lives. The printing press and the many advancements in print manufacturing and distribution put print as the first mass medium. Before the printing press, the mass reproduction and distribution of texts began in East Asia around 700 CE, with the use of wood block printing method to mass-produce texts. In 1439, Johannes Gutenberg invented the printing press, later following the production of the first book, the Bible. In 1810, Frederick Koenig achieved a major advancement for the print industry, the newspaper. He improved Gutenberg's invention of the printing press by combining the original design and a steam engine. He called this the rotary press. The rotary press is one of the original printing presses still used today. This was the rise of the newspaper and the start to a new revelation of print media. After the mass distribution and success of newspapers in the early 1800s and the use of the telegraphs in the mid to late 1800s, print media gained one particular enemy that sealed the fate of the media industry from that point on. This enemy takes the name of radio. Thanks to Hertz and Marconi, the road to radio expanded beyond anything ever imagined. In addition to the previous advancements of Hertz and Marconi, Nathan Stubfield and Reginald Fessenden made the name radio known as a form of mass media for public speeches and music over a wireless signal. The first sounds to ever be broadcast over the radio was O Holy Night on the violin and a reading of a passage from the Bible broadcast by Reginald Fessenden. With the technology that comes with radio now readily available, other key elements of radio like content, finance, and advertising would have to fight with print media for attention. These key elements were then included in the new media source for all things entertainment and news, the magazine. To keep up with the ever-changing effects of technology and media, innovators had to think different. With the content being given over the air, publications had to draw their readers back. Magazines appeal to an expanding range of reading flavors and audiences. They are designed for standardized or special interest groups. Regardless of their designs for special groups, they developed a mass medium because they appeal to large numbers in a national market that cut across social, economic, and educational class lines. Although magazines were in existence from the 1700s, the peak time for magazine success occurred around 1900s to 1960s. During this time, magazines gave in-depth coverage of not only political events going on in the world, like coverage on the world wars, but they were also giving information on the nation's next best mass media source, the television. Today, people all over the world can turn on their television and find 24 hours news channels, as well as music videos, nature documentaries, and reality shows ranging from addictions to interventions. The maker of the first television transmission, Vladimir Zworykin, also known as the father of television, who created the first practical television, along with the others like John Baird and Philo Farnsworth, television wouldn't have expanded the lengths they reach today. Television was the first mass medium capable of instantly and wirelessly transmitting audio and visual signals. TV took the best ideas from radio, including primetime programming, show ideas, and even the stars that once aired on the radio. Although movies were a popular form of visual media during the time, there were only 3 options for television broadcasting: NBC, CBS, and ABC. Those 3 broadcastings were the 3 options Americans had to choose from across the country. NBC, CBS, and ABC aired the daily sitcoms, dramas, and news programs until the 1980s. The 1980s brought the introduction of Fox as the 4th television broadcasting network. At this point in time, almost all Americans were turning on their televisions and turning down the newspapers. Aside from television, the internet has been the catalyst for technology. According to the Webster Dictionary, internet is an electronic communication network that connects computer networks and organizational computer facilities around the world. There are now plenty of ways not to only communicate, but to get information instantly rather than waiting for a newspaper. There are streaming, podcasts, the internet, ebooks, and e-magazines, all at the touch of a finger to gain news, entertainment, and information almost immediately. Surprisingly, the internet has been around since the 1940s, but did not fully emerge until 1989 when a man named Tim Berners-Lee created computer programming codes that helped grow internet as the next mass medium.
We worked together. I invented the World Wide Web. Now, 20 years on, Ted, I want to ask your help in a new reframe.
Berners-Lee not only created multiple programming codes, but he created the first internet browser called the World Wide Web. By the year 1993, pictures, videos, sounds, and texts could be transmitted through the web, and by the year 2005, Flickr, YouTube, Wikipedia, and Facebook made a debut, encouraging millions of people all over the world to share and upload user-generated content. It is safe to say that technology has had a great impact on print media, and with negatives, there are always positives.
There's a beauty in print products in that there's a certain serendipitous nature to it. Sometimes you'll stumble onto a story that you would have never sought out digitally. The digital side's benefit is that if I'm only interested in one topic or a specific topic, I can go to it and read about it. The downside of that for me as an editor and somebody who likes to facilitate a public discussion, particularly on our viewpoints page, is that the social media models that are out there now where people are racing to websites or Facebook pages that solely give the opinion they agree with. So it is encouraging closed minds in a sense. And that's not good for anybody. I think in order to have a healthy community and a healthy government, you really need to have a great discussion where people are willing to hear and listen to other people's viewpoints and share their own with people that may not agree with them. So.
There are actually many positives to technology impacting the print media company. For example, since technology, print has fought to keep up with the time period. Print has not only become more readable and versatile, but it is available to everyone and not just in newspaper form. Companies like the New York Times and the News Journal, which of whom originally was only paper form, have now expanded to online platforms to reach more customers and save more money.
Sometimes I'll read stories from national news outlets and you look at their datelines, and sometimes their datelines are from like 1999. And I'm like, wow, like a lot of companies weren't really online. A lot of news companies weren't really online at that point. And I think those are some of those, definitely the New York Times for sure. I remember seeing datelines from the 90s. So I don't know if they knew exactly how big it was going to become, but they recognized, what the heck, let's just put it online. And I think they were ahead of the curve. So I think that definitely plays a part in it.
Although technology has pushed print media to be better in more ways than one, they have also bumped print media down on the leaderboard of the way people consume their news and entertainment. Technology is not only efficient, but is quick, and with the press of a button, millions of users across the country can be graced with 24-hour news coverage on the latest happenings of the world. Technology has made it cheaper and more convenient for companies to spread news by providing multiple platforms, advertisement, and visuals to attract readers to the websites.
You know, the way that we live our life, it's all based on convenience. You don't have a flip phone anymore. Why? Because it's convenient. Like, it's convenient to have a phone that has the internet on it. It's convenient to have a medium where I can get the news and not have to worry about physically buying it. I can just go online and read it for free. And that's the whole thing. It's so much simpler.
I think the decline in print simply comes down to, again, there's the convenience factor. There's also the matter of it's just easier when you are traveling, you know, so again, that falls into the convenience. But I think it's also, I think there also was an unbelievable arrogance in print. Like, for example, I worked at Rolling Stone for many years, and I worked at the LA Times, and I worked for all these places, and all of these places that had been in existence for so long didn't really take the threat of the internet seriously, because they felt like, oh, okay, we've been the ruling factor for so long, you know, like nothing is going to come along and compete with us. And so the decline in print really comes down to an arrogance. Like the old guard didn't take the threat of the internet seriously enough, and that's what happened. Was, of course, they lost their audience.
Regardless of platform, print media and technology have both played a huge role in the process of communication between people. Fortunately, the technology industry has heard the cry of the plummeting print media industry and has decided to lend a helping hand by purchasing print media companies and reshaping them to be more suitable for the internet.
New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal were all sort of front runners in trying to adapt and change. Washington Post is under new ownership now, and when you think about a guy, I think Jeff Bezos, who is the owner of Amazon, he owns the Washington Post now. So there's some really interesting experimental thinking going on in how they develop and reach audience online while protecting their print product. These companies have invested a lot too in different delivery models, and by that I mean how they can get consumers to pay for their content on the web. So while you may have lost a print subscriber, they figured out how to way to regain some of that money through paywalls and things for their sites. So,
of course, as the years go by, media, regardless of paper or print, can change and shift. Technology will always be more relevant than print media, but print media isn't going anywhere just yet.